Let's fast forward to today. Do you want to give a quick snapshot of what you've done over the last year? Because I mean, there's a lot of exciting stuff.
Yeah, so I moved from managing HMOs to buying, well, closing now on $1 million in property. Hopefully by the end of this year, we should be surpassing the 2 million mark. That's the aim.
How is it that you came across property sourcing?
I initially came across property sourcing through a program which I'd done prior to coming to you. But the problem with a lot of these programs is you don't really get any coaching. I think for me, it was about finding someone who's actively doing it and someone who can nurture you through the process, which is how I ended up getting in touch with you.
You said that you wanted to eventually get involved in property and maybe in a few years own a few £100,000. What made you realise, or what made you look at it and go, I can do this so much sooner?
Yeah, at first it was, but I guess it's more because I didn't know what could be achieved.
Yeah.
Before we spoke, I didn't really know what was attainable, bar the sort of basics I'd learnt in the course. But you know, when we spoke, you taught me about raising finance, about how to find deals, how to structure them, how to continue. I feel like until you know what you can achieve, you'll never really get there. I think once someone opens your eyes to it, you can't really unsee it.
So I'm here with Ali. Ali has been a mentee in Evolve for about a year, maybe a bit longer.
Yeah, just about.
You were one of the first.
I was.
You were one of my first. And today I want to just touch on a couple of subjects, what you were doing before, what you're doing now. I want you to talk about the processes that we've implemented, because we've got a focus at the moment, we'll get onto in a second, and understand a little bit about your career path and what you got involved. So as I was saying, just over a year now, what is it that made you go, do you know what, I want to get involved in property? What did you see out there? What made you take that leap, let's say?
So at first it came from my parents. So my parents are pretty much quite heavily involved in property in Portugal, not in the UK. And basically everyone I know that is successful, parents, friends, friends' parents, they're all involved in property in some way or another, whether that's commercial, residential. So, I mean, if you see us there, it's obviously attainable.
Yeah, I remember when we first spoke and you mentioned property as like the end goal. But you also, when we first spoke, you didn't realise how or what that journey looked like, did you? It was more of, I see property as the end goal, but I want to kind of get involved. How is it that you came across property sourcing?
So I initially came across property sourcing through a program which I'd done prior to coming to you. But the problem with a lot of these programs is you don't really get any coaching. You get a lot of, you get a fixed program which people tell you to go through some modules and then that's about it. So I think for me it was about finding someone who's actively doing it and someone who can nurture you through the process, which is how I ended up getting in touch with you.
Yeah, you got referred over, if I'm correct on that.
Yes, I did.
Was that you spoke to people talking about it, or how is it that you came across my name?
So I had a friend of mine who was close with you, and basically he'd mentioned your name. Of course, I followed you on LinkedIn, and then following you on LinkedIn, I saw your post, saw that you're actively doing it. Of course, I reached out to get a bit of a better understanding. Of course, you're based in Leeds. I'm also based in Leeds.
That helps.
So we met up, and you gave me basically a deep dive as to what you do, how you can help, and I guess it was less of a sell, more of a, this is what I do. I could just show you how to replicate it.
Yeah, and that was, as we're saying, over a year ago. Let's fast forward to today. So do you want to give a quick snapshot of what you've done over the last year? Because I mean, there's a lot of exciting stuff.
Yeah, so I over the last year, I moved from managing HMOs to buying, well, closing now on $1 million in property. Hopefully by the end of
Owning.
Yeah.
So you've bought £1 million worth of property, or about to complete on the final one.
Yeah. Hopefully by the end of this year, we should be surpassing the 2 million mark. That's the aim. I've raised over $1 million in private finance.
Yes.
And the aim is to continue raising that. So I'm actively reaching out at the moment to investors to grow that pot.
It's funny how when we first spoke, I can't remember the number you said, but you said that you wanted to eventually get involved in property and maybe in a few years own a few £100,000. What made you realise, or what made you look at it and go, I can do this so much sooner? Because it was a 5-year goal, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
£1 million number.
At first it was. But I guess it's more because I didn't know what could be achieved.
Yeah.
Before we spoke, I didn't really know what was attainable, bar the sort of basics I'd learnt in the course. But when we spoke, you told me about raising finance, about how to find deals, how to structure them, how to continue, leveraging banks and refinances, different business models such as Airbnb. So essentially all of that opened my perspective. I feel like until you know what you can achieve, you'll never really get there. I think once someone opens your eyes to it, you can't really unsee it.
Absolutely. And because you started with the sourcing model, didn't you? That was kind of the introduction. I think one of your claim to fame to the group is I think you sourced a property in the first 3 weeks, maybe?
Yeah, that was
about 3 weeks. Yeah, talk to us. What was that like? Because I remember it was property in Morley.
It was indeed.
Yeah, I think I can remember part of the numbers. I remember doing it because it was so quick, and we used it as a bit of a case study for everyone else to really kick them up the arse, which was brilliant. But so you sourced that property in Morley, you got paid a good fee for that, and that kind of made you open your eyes, didn't you, really, to go, right, well, there's more we can do here. And what made you transition from the sourcer side into actually, I want to own the properties, I want to be part of the partnerships?
So the sourcing side's great. I think that is, if you can do that as a business model, it works great. I think for me, I like the idea of having the assets, having them growing, and then at some point in the future, not having to rely on any active income. Yeah. So I guess there's multiple ways to go about it. You can continue the active business alongside a passive business, or just put your eggs into one basket and raise the money, put the money into the deal, refinance, pay the investors back, and keep the asset, which is what I chose to do.
Yeah, to quite a high scale as well, which is cool. And the properties you own at the moment, I mean, you go through a refinance, aren't you? But in terms of the actual numbers, you're earning a good passive amount, aren't you, at the minute?
Yeah.
How much is it that you're actually bringing in per month?
So I'm looking at about 1,500 per month now.
Okay.
Hopefully by the end of the completion, once that completes, then I'll be looking at over 3,000 a month.
Okay.
And hopefully by the end of the year, given everything goes well and I hit target, upwards of 6.
Nice. I mean, that would be within 2 years of getting, 2 years of working together. I know you doing different strategy before, which went out the window pretty quickly, didn't it?
It did indeed.
Yeah, we won't go into that. So as we're saying, you were one of the first that joined. You were kind of the building blocks in terms of when we first started. Since then, you've seen more and more people join, haven't you? How are you finding that community growing? How are you finding, because you turn up to every call on Tuesdays, which is brilliant, or most, which is really good. And you're seeing these new people join, you're seeing them start, not really understanding, and then growing as well. How are you finding that community aspect of it?
It's good. I mean, I love to see people going from nothing to something. I mean, I think Ed's an example of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, he started, well, you know better than me, but when we met in York, where he was initially going through, the refinance or the refurbishment of one of the projects, and now it's going on to Airbnb. He's doing well from it. He's on to bigger projects, on to the next thing. It's good to see. I think it pushes you as well to, I think I compare myself with people who are a lot further ahead, so it pushes you to do more when people are actively posting in the group saying they've raised 200 grand, they've just sourced, all money out of deals, and it makes you feel like you're not doing much, but everyone's at their own pace.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's funny that you bring up Ed. We've done a video that we'll link in the description. We've done a video with Ed, and we actually went to that property, which is really good to see that before, because when he first came to us, he was still getting involved, and we kind of looked at it, and the advice and the property in general, so good to see it finish and him refinance it. The valuation came in recently, so the all money out in a little bit, and just to see he's got a couple more investors, and as you said, he's growing very similar, which is really good. Just shows, I mean, you've been a year, give or take. Ed's been a little bit less, I'm pretty sure, but months nonetheless. It's fantastic seeing that progress over time. It proves that starting, following the modules, following the processes. I mean, at the minute, you're following up the processes when it comes to finding investors. How are you finding the modules and the networking in terms of helping you step into that in investor raising funds or sourcing, whatever it is?
It's good. I mean, it's, I think the good thing about it is it keeps it simple, and simple is repetitive. And so if you can consistently do that and repeat the process over and over and over again, it is boring. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing that exciting about raising finance until the money hits the bank and you can do a deal. But, it's easy to follow. which is the main thing. I think a lot of people overcomplicate things. You need to reach out to this person, that person will get you in touch. It's not. Yeah, I think most things come from simplicity.
And I think that's what you do the best, really. You just follow the basics, and it's that you've said, it's a repetition. I think when people look at doing it themselves, or whatever the case is, they need the help, because it's either one or two things. One, the process isn't right. And I mean, a lot of people try and give it a go, and we've got a process in place that does X, Y, Z, and I mean, it obviously works. Look at how much you've raised in our raising. But number two, it's the volume thing as well. I remember you sitting with us, December, I think it was, sort of saying, right, I need to improve, I need to look at it. And we looked at what you're doing and realised, actually, we just need to do more. It was working, we just need to do more. And you've scaled that. And I mean, how many investor conversations have you had this month alone, or January even?
Well, five potential investor leads.
And they're qualified, they're ready to spend money, invest money, help rephrase it. But I mean, just the progress there is great. And you mentioned the day out in York, that was an investor day, wasn't it? Where, I mean, 10, 12 of us maybe?
Yeah, it was great.
All went out. How did you find that day? Because we were looking to do more community quarterly events. How did you find that?
It was good. I mean, I think for a lot of people who've not seen, I mean, even including myself, I think with what I focus on, I don't really ever strip properties back to brick and then fit it out completely. So to go and see the process from start to finish, I mean, luckily you had, luckily for us, maybe not for you, luckily for us, you had quite a few properties at different stages. So you had a property that you'd just ripped out, that you're going through planning for, which did get approved, didn't it?
Yeah,
we mentioned.
Yeah, we're starting that very soon.
So you had,
that hasn't got back when it's finished.
Yeah, you had a property that had recently been refinanced, which you had the 2 flats on Airbnb.
Yeah, they were about to get furnished, so you could see them when the everything, the new kitchen, new bathroom, etc. So yeah,
and then one that was actively being used as on Airbnb,
actively making us money, which was nice. So yeah,
it worked out nicely for us.
Yeah, exactly. It was a good day, wasn't it? Good. There's so many different people there, and I think you said it well. There's so many different people there at different stages. So it's nice. I know that you're a little bit further on than quite a lot, but even seeing like the back to brick and seeing that conversations and etc. Yeah, it worked out really well. Yeah. So the York Day is something that we did. I think was it back end of last year, Q4, I want to say. And as the community's growing, as the network's building, and you're seeing more and more people join, which is brilliant. We really want to push that opportunity where we're going out for more. We want to do an investor meal, don't we? We talked about that the other day. Want to go back into York when we've got the extension and stuff. So there's ample opportunity there of whilst we're growing to do more and more and more. And if we were to do stuff like, because did you come to the investor meal as well? Did you come to the Vizenda one? No, that was fine. I think it was December. Yeah. And you might have been in Portugal or something at the time. But again, even that was a great afternoon out, good food, which was brilliant. And then there was loads of us, and it was again that networking aspect. And so we are looking to do many more of them. And I think one thing that I would like to do is either a retreat or races. I think would be quite good.
Races would be good.
Yeah,
a retreat would also be good.
A what? A retreat?
Right, yeah, Portugal. Oh, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, nice and local for me.
Yeah. So yeah, we're looking to do a lot more of them. I think that's really good for the community. And as you said, all the feedback was absolutely brilliant, especially on a York Day. And we got Nando's in there as well.
And did.
Which you can never go wrong with.
Exactly. But I think it's useful to meet other people actively doing it, because a lot of the times you don't feel like you're doing the right thing, because you don't have someone behind you, giving you that reassurance all the time, saying, you're doing the right thing, or the next deal will come. When, if you keep doing the same things over and over, it will. But, having that evidence when networking of people doing similar things to you, finding deals, raising investment, it's a positive. Yeah, it's a positive feeling.
I couldn't agree more. So we have a call every Tuesday, don't we? Where we get everyone in, and as we're growing and growing, I think it's becoming better and better. I hope you agree. And on them calls, it's great because someone will pop in and say, this is how my week's gone. And then we'll sort of look into it. Tom's a great example. Mm-hmm. Made a couple of tweaks to his messages, his kind of processes, his KPIs. We increased it slightly. And I mean, even there, we had a conversion, or his acceptance on LinkedIn went from 20 odd to 80 odd percent. Yeah. And then he had his messages that he was sending went from like 1% response rate to like 20% response rate. So, and what other people saw from that and they've messaged him after was like, oh, they saw that and went, oh, actually, that's pretty cool. I want to be doing that as well. And then we tweak and we change as well. So yeah, I think you're completely right. The Tuesday calls and the quarterly events is something we all want to be pushing. So no, I think you've hit the hell on the head there. So you've mentioned portfolio just about to be $1 million. Yep. So we can't call it $1 million yet, but we're very close. And how far off are we?
Soon. About 300 grand.
And that's completion. Well, yeah, we're 300K off, but this new completion is going to take
a few months.
A few months,
yeah. It's a block, so there's always a few more intricacies than your standard, buy refer finance. But
okay, yeah, all of that's exciting. We're going to get to 2 million by the end of the year. Talk to me a little bit about how we're going to get there. What is it that we're doing at the moment? What is it that we're implementing? And just an overview. We don't want the day-to-day aspect, but just a quick overview of how you're getting there.
A lot of what I do is mainly off-market outreach, so direct to vendor, which I think you cover quite a bit on.
Yeah.
So that's been really helpful. So getting all those all the off-market leads. A lot of it comes down to timing. Of course, a lot of the vendors, I mainly target blocks of flats, and so a lot of that is people who've owned it for generations and generations, and now it's, especially with the current climate, a lot of people are selling off. So essentially, direct to vendor messages to get leads for blocks of flats, looking to convert those, and then on a day-to-day basis, outreaching to investors to raise finance.
Yeah.
And then utilizing the investor finance to buy the blocks, split the titles, refinance, and pay them back.
Nice. And we're also potentially, because you've got quite a few blocks, but you've also got quite a few investors. I mean, you're not doing this by half. You also mentioned that you might look to source a few on, because I mean, the fees that you can charge there are sort of tens of thousands, really, aren't you, for the opportunities? So I mean, this year there's ample opportunity to source them on, pick the best ones, keep them, keep raising funds. And what's the 5-year goal? What are we looking at in 5 years? Where do we want to be in terms of the portfolio, the monthly income, etc.? What does that look like?
So I've got two goals. I've got like a realistic one, and then I've got the not so realistic one.
Okay, go on then.
So I think the realistic one is get to 10 million.
Okay. That's the realistic one.
That's the realistic one.
Okay,
I love that. Unrealistic one is 30.
Okay, why is it unrealistic?
Well, it's not unrealistic. Okay. It's a lot harder to achieve. And
well, yeah. It's more of a growth type.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like if the stars align,
yeah,
and I do everything right, and I keep at the pace that I'm going, then I'll hit it.
Nice.
But if I slack off, then I'll hit the 10. I'll revert back to the 10.
And what would that look like as a passive income?
Oof, you're probably looking at about, at the 10 mark, you're looking at about 40 to 50,000. So at the 30, I've not even considered it. If I could have
above that. I like that. And this is what I mean, like you've been doing it, and I appreciate it before, but you've been with us as part of a year. And I mean, like when we first talked, you were like, right, in 5 years, I want to own £1 million worth of property. And now you're looking at maybe a little bit longer than 5 years, but 5 years nonetheless of 10 to 30 million. And I mean, that just shows the changes and the brilliance of it, which again is super exciting. So a year ago, when you jumped on, when we first had that call, two parts to this question, so bear with us. But the first part is, what made you go, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to jump on? Because I remember you saying that when we first did it, you were like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't know if I feel like this is the right thing. But then you kind of came back and was like, but I need to take action and I really want it. So it is that kind of feeling of, I'm not ready, but you still took action. What made you kind of realize that? Because I'm assuming you look back and go, I'm glad I made that decision.
Yeah.
But what was it that made you go, no, this is right?
I guess there's two ways to go about things. You can either learn everything online for free and take 3, 4, 5 years to potentially not even get very far. Or you could pay a small amount up front and get there a lot quicker, learn from someone, get their guidance, have someone to lean on when stuff goes wrong. And just having someone there in one simple mistake in property can cost you the amount that it costs you to have that mentor next to you. So, I think the cost of it is negligible compared to what you get out of it. And that's in costs alone, let alone what you get to learn after. And if you do implement it, then you can do pretty well.
But yeah, you're pretty well is definitely one way to put it. And I mean, you're a prime example of that. So when we took that step, for other people maybe watching this and looking at it going, Jesus, I don't think I'd ever get to that, which you were that person.
Yeah.
What would you say to them guys that might say, oh, I can't see that happening, or I don't feel ready, or what would your advice be?
I guess you're never really going to be ready. You just have to do it. If you want to get somewhere, you're going to have to put some commitment, because it's not only, of course, all the benefits, but once you put a capital commitment to something, you almost feel obliged to show up every day.
No, I agree.
Whereas, if something's free, let's say it's a book that's free, you're probably going to download it, you're never even going to look at it. But if you put capital commitment to it, you almost feel obliged to show up every day and do something about it. So if you're on the fence, then grow some balls and it.
I like the advice. Stop being a bitch, basically. No, and I think you're right in going that if it is a priority, if it's something that you're wanting to do, then it is a matter of, right, well, you're going to have to take some commitment. And the commitment, like you've said, is if you're on the fence, you're there for a reason. So pushing yourself to one side and going, right, whether I'm ready or not, whether this is something that needs to happen, it's like, well, let's take that gamble, let's push it, let's move forward. Because with that capital commitment, you're going to be much further on. And like you said at the start, there's also the point of going, you don't know what you don't know. And so you might, again, people might be watching this and going, yeah, but I don't think I can raise a million, I can't do that. Again, you were that same person that looked at that. It is achievable, but you need the right guidance, the right person, whatever that might be.
It comes along a lot down to mindset, which I think you're quite big on mindset.
Push that, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah. You love your motivational posts.
I do. I do.
But you're quite big on mindset, and I think working with you instill that in a lot of people.
Yeah.
So when you pass that motivation on, it gives you, it gives you a sense that you can achieve the same things. So I think that's a big thing. And when people are afraid, they don't have someone there, to pat them on the back and say, listen, you're doing the right things, just give us some time. Whereas, having you there, at least you've got that.
Yeah, cool. Final thing I want from you is, what is the best or what is the top thing within the community? What have you found to go, if someone's going, it's like, look, this straight alone is worth it?
Yeah. Just having you,
fair enough.
Just having you on, well, I wouldn't say speed dial, but you just having it assist you at any point. You're a bit of a workaholic, so you still answer on Sundays, which is weird, but you do answer.
Stop calling me on Sundays.
So yeah, just having access to you at any point in time. Even everything is laid out to make it simple. You can follow a process, but when you're actively doing stuff in property, there's so much stuff that comes up that you just wouldn't expect, and stuff that is probably not worth putting into any form of content, because it's just so rare. But you've been there, you've done it, you've got over a £5 million portfolio, so you've been through those quirks. And if someone ever comes up with something like that, you can pop you a call, pop you a message, you're there to answer.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And that's one thing I remember when I wanted something like this. And the biggest thing that I would want is that ability to speak to someone or ask questions or gain knowledge like that. I mean, like you said, researching your YouTube, you don't get that. For me, actually, it does the opposite. You research, you feel like you're moving forward, you never are. And then actually, you probably got more questions than how you started. So yeah, couldn't agree more with that. Ali, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've also promised Danny and yourself that these blocks in Scarborough in a few months will come over. We'll do a day out.
Yeah.
Dare I say it, a day out in Scarborough. You can take us to somewhere and we'll have a look at the box. I think we're really good to have a look at that. So if you're watching this and like Ali said, you're looking at something where you want to take it serious, you want to put this as a priority, you've been thinking about it for a while, and rather than feeling ready and keep researching, book a call in. I love chatting to guys to see how you're getting on and understanding what it looks like. So book a call in, we can have a quick conversation, understand if it's right for you, understand if we're going to work well together, and we can have a chat. So I believe the link will be in the description. Is that right, Danny? Link will be in the description. So have a click on there and hopefully we'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.